Live from the studio of his parents' basement, the Have You Seen It podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight. Sitting across from me is the one and only Cash Krause. But before we begin, if you guys can please be sure to smash the like button, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single week. So with that said, Cash, what are we reviewing today?
Well, Mason. This is a movie that I was very excited for.
I think we both were.
Yes, of course, yeah.
But I was very nervous too. I was very nervous about this.
Are you being serious about that?
I am being serious because it meant so much to Steven Spielberg, and this is obviously kind of the loosely based version of his life, that I wanted to make sure that the film was
loosely, not
good.
so loosely. According to him, it's pretty accurate.
Pretty accurate, yeah.
Of course, we're here to talk about The Fabelmans, Steven Spielberg's newest film. Yeah, I got mixed feelings about this one, honestly.
Do you really?
Man. I know.
Wow, okay,
yes.
Another film where we will have different opinions.
Yeah, like that's never happened.
I know, like we never have different opinions on the podcast.
I know. Yeah. So this film, of course, is a semi-biographical film about Steven Spielberg, right? The very famous, probably the most famous director of all time.
I would say so. We might have a couple posters around here that have old
for
Stevie.
Sure. But it's not. It's semi-biographical, as in the kid's not named Stevie Spielberg. His name is Sammy Fabelman. But man, like I said, I like this film a lot. It's just, it's very self-gratifying, obviously, for Steven Spielberg, and it's just in the back of my mind, this is the reason why Quentin Tarantino only wants to make 10 films, because he never wants to see himself do a film like this. A film where it's just, obviously, it's very critical of his parents, obviously, especially of his mom.
Yes.
Very, very critical, but it's shown kind of, that part's not shown, but a lot of it is shown in just very rosy glasses, just by like, the film feels like Grease, as in all the kids look amazing, it feels like a play almost. Where
I
it's
do agree with that.
It's not as grounded. And of course, that's not Steven Spielberg, but it's just not, I don't know. I just wanted a little more realism in that aspect. Show me really what it was like growing up in the 50s and 60s or whatever. Show me what it really looked like for you to be shooting these films. Because again, even the film that are shot in the same way that he did, but are shot very well. Because according to him, he can't look at a film that's shot unwell. He has to shoot it well.
Was he genius right away?
No, that's not how the original films look. So I wanted a more realistic approach to that kind of, that was my big. It's beautifully shot. The acting's phenomenal. I just wanted I wanted to feel like I was really watching a snapshot into a kid's life, rather than, maybe the feeling of a 70-year-old man telling me, what it was like, because it's like I said, it's shown through like very rosy glasses with just like the kids at the high school and everything, just like these kids all look like actors. Was that Steven Spielberg's life?
No, that's where he got all the ideas, because his life was a movie,
Yeah, I mean it's just like that. I don't know. That kind of hurt me. For some of it, there's some parts that I just absolutely loved, but some parts where I felt like it probably didn't happen that way. Steve, it didn't.
And I do agree with that, but I guess I kind of just look at this film more in the style and way that Steven Spielberg makes his films, so it was kind of expected for me. Also, I have to talk about this kid, because I thought he was the highlight of this film, obviously the main character, but Sammy Fabelman, played by Gabriel LaBelle. I thought there was one scene at the very beginning of the film where he looks up at his mom or his dad, I forget which one it was, and he has these just bright blue, mesmerizing eyes, and I go, wow, this kid, that look was actually how I would envision Steven Spielberg as a child.
Steven Spielberg is as good as it gets when it comes to casting child actors.
He is one of the best.
He knows it doesn't seem like a hard task, but man, watch 9 out of 10 Hollywood films, and those kids suck. But he is just really good at finding talented, really, really fucking talented kids. But yeah, I just wanted to see a lot more of like what was the magic that caught him in the films, you know? I just wanted more of that. I wanted to see him in front of a screen, seeing these films that inspired him. Because we did not get enough of that.
Yeah, we did get it. The Greatest Show on Earth, exactly. 1952, coming out but
for his
first time.
It wasn't just that, you know. He was at the film all the time. He was at movies all the time, you know. He was always watching things. So I wanted to see him really what drew him in, you know. But he gets attached to the train. The train
accident, yeah. But one of the great elements of this, and I love it because we can never comprehend something like this, Cash, because we grew up in a world with technology, with film and all this. But I loved how this film kind of opened where, you know, Sammy's going to the film, but he's kind of scared. He's a little boy. He doesn't know what a movie is. And his parents are trying to convince him, no, it's just a big screen with giant, and he's like, giant people, what?
Yeah, well, that time they didn't have TVs.
So. Didn't have anything. It was very, very rare to go to a big film like this.
Yeah, and that's the part, I love that part. I wanted a little bit more of like the history of how it felt at the time. Like, let's take Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is like we're getting all these actors doing retrospective, or all these directors doing retrospective films now. Like the last 10 years, there's been so fucking many of them with like Honey Boy and Jonah Hill doing like mid-90s and Roma and all these films of directors living their childhood. Belfast. But
it's a good list there. Very impressive.
Yeah, but I wanted a little bit more. I wanted to know what it felt like in that time, you know, what it felt like to go and see a movie when everything you saw on the screen was kind of new. Was like everything's doing it for the first time.
Everything was Avatar.
Yeah.
You know, for the first time seeing it.
Yeah, everything. What the fuck is happening? Yeah. Exactly. I just wanted to feel a little bit more of that magic. Instead, it was much more geared towards the drama that was going around in his life. But I just wanted a better balance of that, you know.
I do feel at times...
It's not like he had the roughest life in the world either.
No, but I do feel at times you are 100% right on that, because I did find myself craving more of the film side of things. And there is one point in the film where I watched it, and I go to click on the time because I'm like, oh, cool, now Sammy's kind of getting into the film. And there was 15 minutes left of the film. I just wanted a little bit more of it. But what I will say, on the side of the story, it was very compelling for me to go through this journey of how Sammy Fabelman grew up, Steven Spielberg grew up, and that dynamic between his mom, his dad, and then obviously Seth Rogen, who's just a homewrecker.
It's kind of weird. Steven Spielberg's life is kind of, I don't know, he's so well known in Hollywood that people kind of know by legend, you know? It's kind of like he was close to his parents. They divorced when he was young, so everyone always thought that because of that divorce happened, he kind of kept that childhood because he and immature in a good and a bad way, you know, because everyone said he's very immature in real life. He only ate SpaghettiOs while filming Raiders of the Lost Ark. Which is the only reason he didn't get food poisoning was because he only, as a 30-year-old man, he's only eating SpaghettiOs. I mean, this guy's a little stunted.
Well, and why do you think also, you say good and bad, and you're right.
Why do you think his movies look like they're shot from the mind of a 10-year-old?
Well, and also he's so good at casting children as well, you know.
Because he can relate to them.
Correct.
Very well, even at this old age, which is so amazing because so many people do lose that. Of course they lose, but although these last few years, I'm starting to think he has lost it now, is becoming, of course, you know, he's just becoming sentimental, which everyone does, but that's why some people limit themselves in the films that they do, because they don't want to become sentimental, and they don't want to be just like, I don't know, one big pat on the back for your life.
So let's talk about the romantic development here between Michelle Williams' character, which is Mitzi, and then obviously his father.
I've never heard about this uncle before.
It's Seth Rogen, Benny.
Although he's definitely a national guy, which must have been the reason that his parents divorced. But his parents are fucking great. His parents are, for the time.
Yes.
That's another thing. I'm like, were they this understanding these people are so fucking Very progressive.
Super progressive. The most progressive people in 1952. I can guarantee you that. There's not a family.
The fact that the dad's not coming up and just dropping a hard R.
or just smacking the kid when he gets out of line.
Or the dish is not being done and he just cracks his wife, right? Like that. Although I think he did have a great childhood. You know? I mean, and obviously this is what happens when you do nurture a child and you do support them in their dreams. They can become something great. But 9 out of 10 parents don't.
No.
But yeah, you know, the first half hour is really what I wanted to see, was like that magic and him. The best scene, and everyone will talk about this during awards. Every time you see this film for award season, you'll see this scene. It's a scene of him in the closet and him holding the picture in his hand, of course, right?
Yes.
He's holding the film in the palm of his hand, taking control of it, you know, like showing this guy, he's a young director right now. He's crafting the film right there in his hand. It's a beautiful scene, of course.
It is.
It is a beautiful scene, but that's the scene you'll see. But that is a great scene. I wanted more of that. I wanted more of the magic of the movie.
Which I want to hit on that because we did see the magic of filmmaking, and not just in the capacity of things that are happy and well shot, but this was one of my favorite aspects of this film, Cash, was his discovery of his mother falling in love with Benny. And I loved seeing him edit this film and seeing these eye contacts, this body language, catching and looking back at Benny.
Yeah, which I knew from the first time they were on screen together.
Of course, because there was chemistry there. You could feel it.
Oh, 100%. And Michelle Williams is just fucking amazing in this. You know, she may get an Oscar nod. And of course, I'm going to the film for Steven Spielberg, but you know I'm staying because my man Paul Dano. Because I'm a Dano head.
Hey,
I will see anything.
We have nothing but bad things to say about Paul Dano on this podcast. Dude. One of the most overrated actors of all time. No,
he's just the coolest guy. He's so fucking cool. He's so good in everything, man. He's just, what an honor to have him in your film. Which is crazy to say because you're Steven Spielberg, but man, he's just.
And it's incredible to me, his range in acting. He can go from this very dark, you think he might have murdered someone in The Prisoner, you know, to literally this here. A very father figure, you know, very nice individual.
And clearly Spielberg was a little closer to his dad than he was his mom. But there are some what I liked, when that drama, the best drama is when he got very personal and very like raw, and was like that scene when his mom is dancing in front of the car semi-nude. It's like, that's a very personal and raw and a hard thing to be even talking about probably as an adult, as a kid, saying that, you know, and seeing the guy who's sleeping with your mom and your dad also, but the dad being so fucking understanding, be like, just shoot. And the kids are all freaking out. It's a very odd scene.
Yeah, his sister was even like, Mom, you're nude.
It's very beautiful, but it's just very weird and very odd. And I loved it. It was very, very good, but it was just like, that is something that would happen in your life that you would never fucking forget about.
That's the thing. There's so much to break down in that scene, and the dynamics between the family and then her dancing that way. Though it is beautiful and mesmerizing, there's also a component there with Benny being there and everything else that's leading up to this scene.
Yeah.
That's what I loved.
And the mom being, you know, very semi-selfish, you know, wanting to be the star, and like just Steven Spielberg
semi-selfish.
Well, but you could see where she was coming from, though, and a lot of the scenes, you know, you could see where she was coming from. Where her husband, there are two different people, really.
They were
Spielberg. He's got his dad who worked at IMB or worked at what's the computer company?
IMB.
Yeah, IMDb.
What is it?
It's the Internet Movie Database.
What is it? I know what you're talking about.
Oh my God!
One of the most famous
idiots.
IMB.
I can't remember, but he worked for GE original, but he was working on the very first computers, and he even broke like he broke like the ground on a new wave computer like system. Like, he was a genius, and they even say in the film he was a genius, but his mom was very artsy and was like a complete opposite. She was very open. His dad was pretty closed off, and
she felt shadowed by him because she could never live up to what he was able to accomplish.
Even though she was like a classically trained pianist.
She was very good at the piano.
Very good at it. His dad loved it too.
His dad loved it, but there was also that emotional element where his father, Paul Dano's character, could not connect with the mom the same way that Benny could.
Yeah.
Seth Rogen's character.
And you get to feel because of his genius. He just could not have, he just couldn't understand.
Didn't have that capacity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But man, there's some scenes when they're telling their kids that they're getting a divorce and the kids are screaming that are just gut-wrenching. They are so well done, so realistic. The desperate plea from the kids to stay together, just to do anything to keep their parents together is so hard. And his sisters, all the girls in this were so well cast as well.
Yes. That was another thing, too. The girls in this were very, very well casted. I completely agree with that. One of my favorite scenes, too, is when Mitzi, which is the mom, she sits down with Sammy, and she goes, I love your father. Your father doesn't deserve my love, but he also doesn't deserve my life. So it's like, and that's a powerful
Such a
thing.
Crazy thing, yeah. And so the mom was so multidimensional. She wasn't just a bad person wanting to go live on her own. She was very depressed, but she loved Benny. She fucking loved him because Benny was able to give her the things that Arnold Spielberg, which was his dad, was not able to give her. Yeah. Which was it was hard to watch. Really
sad too. I mean, it's a breaking up of a family and everything else, and then you call this guy Uncle Benny for so long, and now it's stepfather Benny. You know what I mean? Like, it's a weird dynamic. Yeah, it's a weird dynamic for children.
And it's just never cut and dry though. It's very well written. That kind of stuff is very, very well written.
And I really thought I thought Steven was going to vilify.
You don't hate Benny at all. No. It was his dad's best friend too. Oh God, it's brutal. And his dad doesn't even hate him either.
No,
because it's such it's such a human thing that you can see it from all sides. It's very complex, but so well written. Yeah.
But again, that's where we have to highlight this film and go, wow, okay, that's very compelling, very good script writing, because you could see both sides of this.
Yeah, and you
could side more with one individual or the other, but again, you saw both sides, and that's the brilliance of this writing.
Yeah, and it's co-written by Tony Kushner. He's one of the best screenwriters out there. He wrote Lincoln. He wrote pretty much every Spielberg film in the last 6 years that's gotten an Oscar. He was the co-writer on it. So he's a playwright. He's fucking amazing. But yeah, the screenplay was really, really he wrote West Side Story as well, but it's really well done. Yeah.
We also get Sammy.
The drama parts. I did not like the high school parts.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was going to jump into.
That felt so teen beach movie to me. Like, this is a high school you would see on screen. It's not a high school you would actually live at.
No.
No.
And that is the thing with Hollywood that and this is coming from a guy who has only been cast. Anytime I've ever been in a film, the only role I have ever gotten in my life have been bullies or bad guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I understand this more than I think a lot of people, unless you're watching a lot of film. The bullies are never realistic to real life. In this film, it just wasn't realistic to me.
Yeah.
I just didn't buy into it, and I hate it.
It felt like West Side Story.
Yes, very much so.
I thought at one point they'd start, going to breaking the dance. Like, I don't understand why that was like shoehorned in there. Like, that seems like such a small part. Like the development between the bully and Sammy, the bell was like at the end. It's like, why'd you make me look like that?
Yeah, there's only one. That is the only element where I thought, okay, well, that was clever because that's not something that I saw coming, and I want to give props to that.
They only have like 2 scenes together.
Yes.
Those guys.
Which I think you could have developed Sammy and that
100%,
main bully, the football star,
yeah.
Better, or more. We have a little bit more there where I get it. There was this understanding of, oh, well, I did it because I'm a filmmaker, and okay, well, I portrayed you as the hero, and now you got the girl at the end, right? That's what he says.
Yeah, but it should have been like. There should have been more there where, like, they really hated each other. Because they never, like, that guy kind of stands up for him. It's very soft. Like, am I supposed to hate this guy?
Yeah, the other kid was an absolute asshole, the one he clowned.
Yeah, now, if you make that kid look like the star, where it's like, why'd you do that? I'm a total asshole. That makes a lot more sense to me. Not the guy that was like, already kind of a cool guy. You're just you're just feeding into his ego.
But what I will say, it was smart on Sammy's side because he knew that guy would be the one. Because if I was in Sammy's position and I was a small little runt, I would make the toughest guy in the school look like the biggest badass. Yeah. And then the clown,
because it did end up working
biggest dickhead.
Yeah, for sure. But just the bully looks so I don't know, just right out of Grease or something. Just a total
just tremendous looking as
so
well.
Funny. And that day, and I wanted a little bit more of why he got back into film. Or really, it was just like, go shoot the fucking springs.
Ditch day. Yeah, it's
whatever,
ditch day. Come out.
And then she shoots one thing, and that being said, it was really well shot. But show me something that he shoots, and it's like, holy shit, like this guy's gonna be something, Like,
there was also that dynamic though that I did like that scene with Benny, Seth Rogen, and him when Seth shows up. Sammy's selling his camera gear. Benny's there. He buys a camera and he goes, "Hey, look, you have to keep making films. This is going to break your mother's heart." I bought into that and I believe that.
Yeah,
like as an audience.
And then he never makes another film.
He doesn't make a film for a while. The camera sits under his bed for a little while, but
until he's like, he's not even really convinced to go shoot. He's just like, all right, I'll fucking do it. Like,
yeah, I'll go do this ditch day thing or whatever it is.
Yeah, but I really wanted to see more of of the equipment he was using. Like, I really thought it was cool, the little editing machine.
The 8mm editor,
super cool.
And then he wanted the 16, and Dad's like, "Ooh."
I want to see a little bit more of that.
I did love his super Christian girlfriend, though. I thought there were some funny moments between him and her.
Yeah, that was pretty good for sure.
Especially at the dinner table. That got a little awkward at one point. Yeah.
But, man, I mean, like I said, it's not like he had the roughest life. He was pretty much, his dad was pretty wealthy. His entire family was pretty wealthy. He was given things that a lot of kids, of course, would never be given.
Never.
I mean, that's a very expensive camera and editing machine.
Especially back then.
Yeah, especially for a kid that was, you're like, it's just a hobby, I mean, if I'm getting something like that, I'm like, yeah, exactly. So that's why I kind of, you want a little more flaw, a little more resistance in your story.
Yeah.
To where he had a great life, honestly. It was rough because his mom kind of had to do her own thing at some point, but he was pretty old when that happened.
Yeah, he was older, yeah.
18 or something. And then I wanted to see, he's got kind of a cool story about how he used to just hang around at movie studios. I thought we were going to get a little more into that.
So that is literally the only thing that I wish we would have had more of. I want to see
him start out.
And that's really my only critique.
That would have been so cool to see the studios in the 60s and the 70s, him walking around, him bumping shoulders with all these fucking famous people.
Alfred Hitchcock or whatever.
Yeah, because that's what they apparently they love to pull pranks on him where they would make him go into a room that they didn't know, a big director, or he didn't know, and the guy would the director would yell at him to get the fuck out. But man, I mean, even the story of him getting the job was, I mean, he was very lucky. He actually, Steven Spielberg, the real story is he had a family friend that knew someone that created Hogan's Heroes. Mm-hmm. So he was able to get into a studio. Yeah. That's what you got to remember. No one's making their own.
I did like that scene with the whole, he walks in and everything, and then it's John Ford, and he tells him one thing. He goes,
played by David Lynch, an amazing director playing amazing director. That's kind of cool.
Kind of meta.
John Lynch in anything, man. I love fucking Lynch.
But I loved when he goes to the portraits and he goes, "Tell me about this. Tell me about that. Hey, come on, kid." And he's pressuring him, and he's freezing up.
I wanted 45 minutes of that.
Yeah, and he goes, "You either shoot down or you shoot up." And he goes, "If you shoot
thirds,
straight,
that's boring. Horizon in the middle, boring. Horizon on top, exciting. Horizon on the bottom,
yep.
Exciting." But yeah, I wanted more of that. That's from there. He just starts hanging out there, and then he gets a job eventually. I wanted to see.
And then the film was kind of over, and I wanted more.
Yeah, I wanted a lot more. I could have used a little, even though the film was very long. Mm-hmm. Still, it's 2 hours and almost 30 minutes long.
That waiting room that he was in, though, and I will say from personal experience, that is exactly how they are. You have a receptionist, and then it's kind of a small room, and there's just posters everywhere.
I've heard that story from Steven Spielberg, obviously not personally, but I've seen a video of him in 2010 tell that story, and it's exactly how it happened. John Ford walks in with kisses on his face for some reason, and the the secretary immediately jumps up like it happens every day.
Yeah.
Like goes in. He tells that story like 10 years, almost 2 decades before this film came out. And it's exactly like, and he said exactly what John Ford said. And John Ford used to always wear that eye patch when he was shooting. Yeah. I don't even know. Maybe he didn't even have an eye, but he always wore that eye patch. But
what's going on with John Ford? He hasn't made a film in a while.
he needs to do
I know
something.
It's been a
Lazy
few
asshole.
decades.
He's just phoning it in ever since,
really
since the 50s. But yeah, I love it. I love that little nod. I love that Lynch was willing to do that when he's a really fucking weird guy and only does weird shit. But I thought that was
He played it well, too. He played it really well. I enjoyed it.
I'm sure Lynch knows very well who John Ford is. I mean,
I would hope so.
He's older too, but yeah, man, I thought that was really cool. But like I said, there's some things I liked, some things I just wanted a little bit more of. It's a very good film. It's
this was one of my favorite films this year. The only critique I have is the one that I agree with you on, is that I want to see more.
Give me Once Upon a Time in Hollywood any day of the week over this for sure. That's a film that's not at all about Tarantino, but it's still almost a semi-biographical film because it's showing all the things that kind of inspired him. Yeah, which is cool. It's a cool idea. Mm-hmm. But this will get off. This might win the Oscar just because it's Steven Spielberg. But this film is so fucking hard to find anywhere.
No theaters were playing this. You and I had to rent this VOD.
Yeah, I know.
I ended up buying it because I was like, why not?
Not in this, but it's worth it alone to go and see the score by John Williams, where it's just John Williams. It's just fantastic no matter what. It's not over the top beautiful, but it's his second to last film. Yeah, and it's Spielberg working with John Williams, which hasn't happened in a while now. So I know. John Williams is 90. I think he's 92.
Bro, are you serious?
Yeah, click on his name.
Where is he?
Maybe
90. Oh, here he is. He is 90 years old, still doing the damn thing.
And he's not going to retire. He will still be making concert music, he said.
Wow. He must be in tremendous shape. But one fall can change it.
I think he sits a lot.
Yeah, well, I could imagine at 90 years old. God. He was born in 1932. This motherfucker remembers World War II.
Bro, his dad was talking about World War I when he was born. Yeah, are you kidding me?
Oh my God, that's wild.
His dad definitely served in World War I.
Crazy. Yeah. He was almost in line to serve in World War II. Luckily, he was only 12.
I mean, almost. He had a few
10.
years. He had a few years. Yeah, man, that's crazy. But still, a very good movie. Go and see it.
Yes,
support it.
Definitely.
You just want, like I talked about with the Avatar, you want James Cameron to go back and make a Terminator. You want Spielberg to go back, make a Jurassic Park, make an ET-esque film, just one more.
One more of those rides.
Capture it. Just give me one more Stevie. And maybe he doesn't have that anymore, It's people evolve. Maybe this is the only thing he's got is Lincoln's and West Side Stories, but
well, and I don't even know what potentially could even be on the horizon for him. Yeah, the Fabelmans is the last one. I mean, we gotta. I hate to even say this, but Steven Spielberg's getting old too, man. I mean, he's getting old. 76 years old.
He is old, man.
It's crazy.
All those guys that came out.
Do you know how depressing we're gonna be?
Oh my God!
Like when all of our favorite directors,
hopefully it doesn't all
Guillermo
happen
del
at
Toro,
once.
Steven Spielberg.
Guillermo is way younger than Steven.
He could.
He's chubby.
He's a little heavy.
No, don't say that about
I love Del Toro.
Don't say that about Del Toro.
He's one of my favorite directors ever. But come on, you gotta lose a little.
No,
get on that keto,
he's
baby.
He's cute. He's very cute.
No, but I want him healthy.
I love him though. I want to give him a hug.
I want him cute and healthy. I want to give him a hug too. He's one of my faves.
I gotta say, I'd be uncomfortable with a jacked Del Toro.
It'd be kind of cool though.
No, it would not be cool. But no, man, there is going to be a day when Scorsese,
James Cameron,
George Lucas, all those guys that came up in the new wave Hollywood, they're all around the same age, and we'll get a couple of rough. I mean, when Spielberg dies, man, it's going to be the death, felt around the world. Even if you're not even a film fan, he's the greatest director of all time.
Yeah. But we do have, this younger generation. When I say younger, I mean even 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, yeah,
you have Christopher Nolan, stuff like that.
Oh,
like,
Fincher. I mean, there's always a new crop of directors to just. I don't know if there ever will be a Spielberg again.
No. But again, we do have good directors to look forward to. But these people aren't dead yet. They're still making film, but it will be sad when that day.
No, and one thing about directors is they fucking. Of all the people in Hollywood, they work until they die.
They do.
Most of the time.
And I love it.
I do too. Unless you're Tarantino, who's a fucking asshole.
Ted and Dud. He says, all right, I make the best films ever. Peace out. I'm going to go direct a concert or something. I don't know. Motorbikes.
Write books, yeah. All right, man. That is the Fabelmans.
It is. If you guys like what you've seen here, please be sure to smash the like button, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notifications. We drop videos here every single week. Thank you so much for watching and listening. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Kraus. And until next time.
Bye.